First time in my life I've seen a twister physically in person.
A tornado outbreak leaves trails of devastation, but that's not the only trouble facing Texans.
I've been fire chief here 40 years, and when you have something like this, it hurts. It hurts the whole community.
Wildfires, even blizzard warnings, all happening in Texas, all happening within just days of each other. Could we see a repeat of these historic conditions?
We're still trying to figure out how much climate is playing a role in these small-scale disasters.
Is ongoing climate change to blame, or is it something else? The link between population booms and severe weather.
It's Texans giving back to Texans is the best way I can put it.
The road to recovery. We dig into the response from state leaders and why supply chain issues could make it more difficult for Texans working to rebuild.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for a special edition of State of Texas. I'm Josh Hinkle, coming to you from the Texas State Capitol. Last week, severe weather left an impact on dozens of Texas counties. Through the middle of Texas, severe early spring storms brought torrential rain, large hail, and destructive tornadoes that ravaged cities near the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, Austin, and Houston. Fires continued to burn in West Texas near Abilene as the Eastland Complex fire grew to over 54,000 acres. In the Panhandle, the Texas A&M Forest Service was called into action to help clear snow away from roadways around Amarillo. Texas is famous or infamous, depending on who you ask, for rapidly changing weather patterns. But Monday was historic, with the state facing such a stunning range of devastating severe weather. Today we're digging deeper into the impacts each of these storms is having. We start with Monica Madden with a look at the response and recovery.
Well, Josh, we saw multiple tornadoes touch our state, some of the worst damage being right here in central Texas. The Williamson County judge says that more than 1,000 homes there were damaged or destroyed, and one of the tornadoes touched down in Round Rock. Here's a look.
I said, run. It was so loud, it was like a freight train.
10 seconds. That's about how long Lindsay Topolsky says she felt the impact of Monday night's tornado.
The noise, that was the most scariest thing. I could hear the crumbling of the house.
Now she has holes in her roof, a semblance of what was once a garage, and is without power, water, and gas.
So I have nothing.
Nothing but her life.
I thought I was going to go. I thought it was going to take me with it. Not one of us has even a scratch on us. It's amazing.
Now, it's a group effort toward recovery from friends and strangers.
That's all we can do, is one thing at a time.
It's the same story a few blocks away.
I was not expecting this level of response. That wood right there staying.
Lee Cooper was at work during the storm, terrified, knowing his kids were at home without him.
I definitely cried in my kids' arms a couple times, just knowing that they went through this and I was in Georgetown not able to get to them.
The emotions and the need for help is not limited to this neighborhood or even this part of the state.
The fact that nobody lost their life, that is a miracle.
In North Texas Tuesday afternoon, Governor Greg Abbott signed a disaster declaration in Jacksboro, where a tornado caused heavy damage to buildings, including a high school.
The quick thinking, the decisive action saved lives.
Jacksboro County was one of those 16 counties receiving that disaster declaration. In Central Texas, it includes Bastrop and Williamson County. In Northeast Texas, you've got Panola, Rusk, and Cass counties. And in North Texas, Wise, Jack, and Montauk County are covered. And Josh, Williamson County Judge Bill Gravel told us that he got a call from Governor Greg Abbott within 5 minutes after KXAN aired live video of the tornado touching down in Round Rock, passing over I-35, just assuring the judge that he would help him and Williamson County and get the recovery that they need.
What exactly does a disaster declaration do for people who are affected?
Well, Josh, basically it waives regulations to help those counties get the aid as soon as possible. So there's a lot of different regulations when it comes to getting aid to counties. You're working with different state agencies and local governments. So this just is designed to make that process faster, get rid of the regulations, get rid of the red tape, so that way the state can get all available resources to those counties affected to help rebuild and recover as soon as possible.
All right, thank you, Monica. And that was just one of the disaster declarations signed by the governor in the span of just a few days. On March 18th, he issued one for the 11 counties affected by the wildfires, including Eastland County, where the inferno engulfed the small community of Carbon, home to about 350 people. When people who evacuated came back, they found homes reduced to ashes and now face the uncertainty of what to do next.
Most of my family, they lost it all. Oh, it's just hard to wrap your head around, you know. So many are just, they have nowhere to go right now. They don't have family here. They don't have a place to go stay. They're homeless, basically.
In addition to the state aid, volunteers stepped up to help. People from all over Texas donated water and supplies. The Texas A&M Forest Service has been dealing with wildfires for more than a week. They are also helping with a tornado outbreak response. We wanted to know if that will put a strain on resources.
We have resources positioned across the state. And those resources have multiple capabilities. So the fires that we're currently working, new fires that we have to staff, we still have firefighters to work that, and then crews that aren't in the high fire danger areas have been shifted over to work the severe weather events that we're having.
The agency says if needed, they'll bring in crews from out of state to strengthen the Texas workforce. People from all over the state are cleaning up and repairing damaged or destroyed homes. Maggie Glenn joins us now. You've been looking into why it could take longer for some people to get their homes back to normal, right?
Yeah, Josh, that's right. We've been reporting on supply shortages when it comes to construction for months now, and it turns out it just depends on what you need fixed.
And just trying to clear as much of a path as we can.
Sheila Beakley is picking up pieces of her home, addressing one need at a time as they continue cleanup from Monday's tornado.
We started a list this morning. You know, we come across little things. Oh yeah, we need to check this. We're going to have to look at that.
Like many of her neighbors, she's going to need roof repairs.
There's going to be a lot of roof work that needs to be done.
Our roof got completely taken off. They are tarping it. Hopefully they'll replace it here pretty soon.
There's a lot of people out here.
Tyler Esquivel with Paul Davis Restoration says roofs are usually repaired within a week.
The roof is pretty quick.
And won't be delayed much by construction supply shortages or a spike in demand in the area since it's an isolated incident and contractors can pull from elsewhere.
And there's a lot of places that also sell the material.
Repairing structural and internal damage could take longer than usual though.
We've got a huge hole in the side of the house.
For like water mitigation, restoration, and reconstruction, that's going to take a little bit longer. That's where your delays will come in for some of the lumber shortages and the materials.
Esquivel says the bigger problem is cost, skyrocketing with the supply shortage paired with inflation.
Where 2 years ago this would be fully covered, but now it's either going over the coverage just due to material.
In the meantime, Sheila's trying to stay positive, even with her neighbor's trailer in pieces on her lawn.
This morning we were just laughing and I just wrote the sign, you know, trailer for sale, needs work.
We mentioned that roofs take about a week to fix. Esquivel says for the internal structural damage, that takes anywhere from 2 to 6 months to fix, just depending on the severity of the damage.
Well, let's talk about the inflation factor. That's something everyone deals with.
Yeah, that's right. It's currently sitting at about 8%, which is significantly higher than it was at this time last year, which was about 2%. And the Federal Reserve just last week raised interest rates 0.25%. So that's going to take a while until we actually see that raise trickle down into everyday prices like groceries and construction supplies.
So should people wait if they can to rebuild and buy supplies?
Well, Josh, as you saw, there are some people who simply can't wait. But according to Forbes, they predict that the housing sector will slow down due to that increase in interest rates, which they say could result in cheaper lumber. But for now, it's really just too soon to tell.
All right, definitely something to watch. Thank you, Maggie.
Thanks, Josh.
Thousands of insurance claims have been filed statewide.
My daughter's car was parked underneath it at the time, so it has seen its end, obviously.
What you need to know in order to get a quick response. We asked Governor Abbott if now is the time to dip into the state's rainy day fund, and what government assistance is going to be available to people dealing with destruction.